I remember you was conflicted. That's it. That's all I
Okay,
have.
what's the second one?
The second one was I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015, but I don't know. Both of those aren't like, they're not really good jumping off points, you know? But I
feel like they work.
I feel like I remember you was conflicted was like a meme for a little while. Like I remember hearing that outside of, I didn't know that was from this album.
I was just not on the internet, so I had no idea at that point.
Yeah. Speaking of not being on the internet, I was looking through
My life.
Yeah, I was looking through our like Instagrams of our friends because I found out you can see like when the account was made. And
wait, how can you see that?
You can like go to the settings on it and it tells you like public information about the account or whatever. And I think you were like 2018. I was 2015 and I was not even the oldest out of our friend group. Somebody had one in 2013, which was surprising to me.
I think I know who. Do you know why I got like my Instagram in the first place?
No.
I got onto the board of a club at school. And everyone was like, we're going to make a group chat. And I was like, awesome. And they're like, but we're going to use Instagram. And I was like, I don't have it. And they're like, we'll get it. So I literally got it for that.
You were 17 when you got Instagram.
I was
2018.
16 because it was before my birthday.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
I'm a November baby. So
yeah.
So yeah, I was 16 years old. I was
13.
A late bloomer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 13 or maybe I was 14. It was in 2015. So whenever it was during that year.
13 or
yeah, depending on when I got it in the
Pretty
year.
much if you got it
before. I think I was 14. I think it was after my birthday. Okay. But yeah, anyway. Sense. Yeah, actually I know it was because I remember the exact day I got Instagram.
What was it?
It was the day of the Paris terrorist attacks when they like bombed a magazine or something like that.
I haven't thought about that in like
I literally,
10 years.
I forgot about that entirely, but I just remembered right now.
Well, like, what a day to mark, you getting Instagram for the first time.
Yeah, that was like the first piece of news I ever consumed on my own on a social media site.
Yeah, that was the first like post you saw on Instagram.
Yeah, it was like the piece with Paris in it. Yeah. So, yeah. Shout out terrorism. No.
Shout out terrorism.
That's not what I meant.
Just wait for our 9/11 episode.
Oh God, we'll have to do one at some point.
Are you referencing like a movie that has 9/11 in it?
There's got to be a few that have 9/11.
There are. I know.
I mean, anything.
I know there's one with Nick Cage.
Oh,
we could watch.
I was gonna say anything with Mark Wahlberg because he would have stopped 9/11 if he was.
That's right.
Around, yeah.
If he was he in his Marky Mark era then?
That might have been post Marky Mark. I think it was post racism against Vietnamese man as well.
I don't know if he was still doing his Calvin Klein ads. Then he would have saved it or something.
I know nothing about Mark Wahlberg. He's Christian now, apparently. I didn't know that. Everything I've learned about him has been against my will.
Same. Yeah. So it's him. Like he's Christian now, and Chris Pratt Christian because I get that those weird ads for that site.
No, you're gonna have to be more specific.
I get these weird ads, and I'm like, I don't know why I get this. I've never clicked on anything like this, but I get like these weird ads for this Christian site, and all the people promoting it are celebrities like Mark Wahlberg or Chris Pratt.
Weird. Yeah. No, I don't get these ads.
Yeah,
I get ads I get ads for Fords and for music stuff.
That tracks.
Welcome back to Uncultured Pop Culture. I'm your host, Brandon.
And this is David, as usual.
Yes. Got two critically acclaimed works here.
And just wait for us to like hate him. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't think. I mean, we haven't really talked a lot about it.
But I think everyone knows like what our reactions are going to be.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. What have you been watching or listening to this week? If you listen to music or podcasts, I don't know.
My mind just totally went blank. I watched a lot of stuff this week. What the hell?
Have you watched any new movies? And
no.
Have you heard about Snow White?
I mean, I've been hearing about Snow White for like the past like year.
Yeah.
Because that's all that like the internet talks about. I've always been kind of like, I don't care.
I don't care about remakes. I think they're stupid.
Yeah. I don't think like, I'm not surprised that everyone says it's bad.
Yeah, it's got like a 22% or something like that right now.
And I'm like, yeah, it probably is bad. There is like the thing though where like on the internet people are like it's bad because it's woke, and I'm like no, that's not the reason.
Did
it's
you?
bad.
I'm assuming you saw the thing about how Rachel Zegler has like hair on her back or like body hair, and that's like the reason that Disney's losing millions of dollars. Like no, it's probably just a bad movie.
I was like, how is that not an Onion? Like
yeah, it's like they've become the right wing has become a parody of itself at this point.
Yeah,
which is
crazy.
It's funny to watch and it's also terrifying.
Yeah,
and those two can exist at the same time.
It's funny when like it's not actively hurting people,
right? Yeah,
but when it is, you're like, well,
yeah.
We're fine.
I'm unaware of the whole like controversy around Gal Gadot being a bad actor. I just know that she's like super pro-Israel, and so everybody hates her.
Yeah.
She's a bad actor. I've never seen her in anything, obviously.
I haven't seen her in anything either.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't really care about superhero movies or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not most of them. Some of them are good.
Which we have a few on the list.
We do.
Yeah.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
So far, maybe we'll add some shit ones in the future.
I would like to watch some bad ones.
Yeah, I have some in mind. But yeah, like everyone says that she just plays the same character over and over.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dwayne The Rock. You know?
I've heard like the criticism I've seen of her is less that she plays the same character and more that she just doesn't play any character because she doesn't know how to act.
She's just like very bland.
I don't know. I have no opinion on it. I've never seen her in anything. So
yeah, I can't speak to that either.
I have an opinion on The Rock, which is that he plays the same character all the time.
100%.
And sometimes that's good.
Yeah, I think
sometimes that's
it depends on the role. I'm just tired of him. To be honest,
that's fair.
Because he's in everything.
Yeah,
and I'm also like, why does he get paid so much to like do the same thing over and over again?
Yeah,
that's the same thing with like Chris Pratt, for instance.
That's true.
At this point, he's playing the same character.
Why is he Mario? That's always
Why?
Yeah,
I don't get it. I will say Jack Black as Bowser slaps though.
Okay.
That was like the one good part of that movie.
Are you going to watch the Minecraft movie when it comes out?
No. I mean,
okay. It looks really bad from the promotional stuff.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But one of my friends who like enjoys torturing himself by watching bad movies like wants to go watch it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do it for this podcast.
I would be very interested because I'm obviously not going to watch it and I don't that's not something I don't spend money on that.
Yeah.
So
for a second I was like, oh, you're going to go watch it. But yeah, no. I mean, it'll be on streaming eventually.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't understand why they didn't just animate it. Like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. It makes too much sense. That's why they didn't do it, probably.
True.
But yeah, anyway, what do you remember anything you've watched from the past week?
I don't know why my mind's going a blank suddenly.
That's all right.
I mean, I just haven't been to the movie theater in a long time.
That's surprising to me because you live relatively close to a movie theater.
Well, yeah, but I feel like I've just been very busy. Like I haven't been home, just like not doing anything for like quite a while.
Yeah.
So that's why I just haven't gone. But maybe this Friday I'll go, to be honest.
Okay. I want to live going to the movies through you because I don't do that.
I'll be your eyes pretty much.
Right. You'll be my eyes and my brain as to what's happening in movies right now.
Yeah. At this point, I'm just rewatching older stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fun too. I mean, I did rewatch Amadeus, which is a really good movie. But
isn't that one of your favorites?
That's one of my favorites. But I don't want to talk about it and spoil it too much.
That's fine because I know we have it on the list.
Yeah. But what have you been listening to, if anything, or watching? Because
now
you're kind of a movie person, tiny bit.
I actually feel like I do enjoy movies now that
obviously
now that I'm actually watching them. It's like, wow, this is actually this is fun.
No, I feel like even before we started the podcast, like you enjoyed movies when you watched them. You just didn't really watch them.
I just don't seek them out.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I listened to the new Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco album.
That came out already?
Yeah, it did. It was a really short release. I think it was like a month and a half.
Yeah,
from announcement. I really don't have much to say about it other than it's really a 2.5 out of 5 for me. It's pretty average. There's good moments, there's not so good moments, and that's fine. It's not
kind of like meh.
Right, it's not life-changing or anything, but it's good and it's not offensive at all. Like there's some decent songs on there.
That's funny because for me, when I rate something 2.5, that means it's like pretty bad.
Yeah, 2.5 is my average.
Yeah. I feel like my average is like 3.5. which is, I know, really skewed because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you like their music, like their separate music from each other before though?
Yeah, Benny Blanco never really had a solo career. He's always been a producer, more and songwriter. He's one of the people that I look up to as like somebody who shaped my perception of pop music and what it could be.
Yeah.
So like in that regard, absolutely, I'm a fan of him. And then I don't know. I have a few friends that really don't like Selena Gomez at all. I like her. I think she's talented. I think that
don't have opinion at all on
that's
either
fair.
of them.
Yeah. I think when it comes to her music, it's very hit or miss for me. Like when she hits, she has the song Hands to Myself. It's a 5 out of 5 perfect pop song in my opinion. And then she has some songs that I will like turn off immediately. That I'm like, I can't even bear to listen to this.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place. But I respect her as a singer as well. I think she's very good.
Yeah. We got to watch Amelia Perez one day.
We do have to watch Amelia Perez, and we have to listen to some of her music because she definitely had an influence on pop music that feels like it isn't remembered as much as like it should be. So,
like in the 2010s.
Yeah, 2010s for sure.
I mean, I could see like her being overshadowed by like, because I feel like so many people had like incredible runs, like especially in the early 2010s, like Lady Gaga and like, you know,
Kesha,
Rihanna. Although that was like maybe a little bit earlier. But
Rihanna's was a long time. She was like 2007 to like 2016 was like her peak, and she was like consistently everywhere.
So yeah, like I feel. I
mean, Ariana Grande as well is a good one. Once you get more into the mid 2010s, because she's a Nickelodeon star. Selena's obviously Disney.
True.
So you kind of get that like pitting against each other.
Well, yeah. So I could see like how she could become like overshadowed with all that, because even when you get in like the later 2010s, you have like Billie Eilish, you know, starting her career, Dua Lipa, like all, you know.
Yep.
And then you have like the rise of rap. So it's kind of like, you know,
look at you. You know some music history.
I finally know something. I finally, you see, you're
telling me things. Yeah.
I'm telling you things.
Yeah.
Stuff that you told me before.
Right. Yeah. But you know, that's good. Well, it's
now,
in your head.
Now it's time to quiz you on movie history. Like, what was the first movie? No, kidding.
What was the first movie?
I'm kidding.
It was the Moon one, wasn't it?
No.
That wasn't the first movie?
I don't remember what the first one was.
It's like Georges Méliès or something like that, like a French
That
dude.
was like that was one of the first ones.
Okay.
That was one of the first ones that was like cut back and forth between scenes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like it was very influential.
Birth of a Nation also people cite as like the first narrative.
Yeah, that was
movie.
like the
so I know some
first long like narrative with I think the first one was like a dude grinning, you know, something like that.
In
it
was like the 1880s or something.
For
probably.
like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Wait, no, the first one was a guy riding a horse. I totally forgot about that, but that was the first one. I think Jordan Peele like talks about it in Nope.
Interesting.
Anyway, we'll have to cover that movie too.
Yeah, I think we have it on the list. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but for all you movie fans that are like, you're not a real film studies person, I think it is that, right? Like, I remembered.
Okay.
There we go.
I'll take your word for it. I went to film school way too long ago to remember any of that.
If I'm wrong about this, I'm going to get...
Yeah.
I just fucked myself up. That's okay.
That's right.
Anyway.
What do you know about Kendrick Lamar?
I knew he won the Pulitzer for this album. I know he's like one of, if not like the most respected rappers, you know, working today.
You know where he's from?
LA?
Compton. But yeah.
Okay.
He reps LA.
I was like thinking back to like all the songs, you know, in his album where he talks about Compton. Yeah. I didn't want to say, I'm not really like a rap person. I feel like for me, I've never really gotten that much out of it. It just doesn't work that well for me. I think like I prefer something with more like...
You're an old head.
Like, well, I feel like kind of... Well, it's kind of how we talked about how like I don't really listen to the lyrics that much. More to the music. I think that's kind of why. That being said, like just because I feel like it may not be for me doesn't mean that I don't see like the art form. And like... Because there's some people out there that are like, oh, I don't like rap. It's not music. I think that's bullshit. Like, it obviously is music and there's obviously merit to it, even if like I'm not particularly interested in it. So even though like I may not be that interested in it, like the way I approached listening to this album, I was like, you know, I know there's merit and I'm going to approach it, you know, like with as much respect as I can, even if I might feel like it's not for me. Like, I'm going to put that fact aside pretty much. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I don't want to give the same like speech that you just did. I am not an authority on rap music. I don't know a lot of the history. I've never really been like a huge fan of hip hop. When I listen to it, I generally do enjoy it for the most part. But to me, hip hop is a lot like EDM in the fact that there's so much awful music that comes out and that I just don't want to like parse through all of it a lot of the time.
In many ways, that is what kind of gets in the way of, you know, some people enjoying it. Listening to this, I don't want to spoil it, but I guess we're going to talk about it in a second anyway. Like, this is like art, you know? It absolutely is. But I can see how like listening to all the repetitive songs about the same 3 topics, you know, about...
I do think that a lot of the problems that I have, especially with like genres, once they become super popular and everybody's trying to do the same thing, is just that everybody's trying to do the same thing and not innovating at all. And Kendrick is obviously not trying to do the same thing as everyone else, which is why he's so well respected. But then you get people who think like, oh, I can do what he's doing, and then try to do it worse. And then other people are like, well, I can do that. And then it just becomes a whole mess. And that's not to say that's anyone's fault. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. I do think that that is a pretty common thing that happens, though. And I've, like, coming from an EDM background, I especially see it there where it's a lot of, like, trend chasing to kind of ensure your survival.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with pop. So rap was something that comes in for the bridge of the song when you just get a random dude coming in and dropping a few bars, and it's like, sick. We'll see you
in featured, you know.
Right. We'll see you in a few tracks again, which I enjoy. And I think that's a lost art. I think that's really fun. When you have a pop song and then you just get a rapper in there to just like contribute more. Love that. I think we should bring that back.
Is Pitbull a rapper, or he's not, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. He's a pop rapper. Okay. Which, you know, that's
because I was like, it feels like it's in the middle.
Yeah. He also draws a lot of inspiration from house music, which adds in another element. Yeah. But
well, then I also know he has like I feel like a lot of his songs are him singing part of it, and then like a pop star singing other parts of it, you know?
Like, he very much fits the mold of like the early 2010s, like pop rapper. But so that was kind of what I grew up on. Then like the rap music that I listened to that was like actual like rapping, that was like produced like pop generally. So that's kind of where I come from. And then as rap got bigger, especially with the influence of like Southern hip hop and trap, then I started to get more into that stuff. So I'm more of that's more my background is like trap music more than like kind of this kind of jazzy, almost jazz rap. Or like conscious hip hop.
I do really like jazz rap, which I think is just the fact that I enjoy jazz.
Yeah.
Like I don't listen to it a lot, but like if I hear it, I'll be like, hell yeah, you know? But would you say this is also like influenced by R&B? Like, you know, like 90s?
This is influenced by black music, period.
Yeah.
Like if a black person developed this kind of music, it's on this album. Yeah. He took inspiration from everything, which I think is really cool. Yeah. And also creates this vision of like what the album is about.
Yeah, it does feel it's very cohesive. I feel like
it is. Yeah. And I'm going to read you a few of I'm going to read all of the credits as we go through them, but there are quite a few different people that like worked on one song or two songs here and there, and they still sound like one complete idea, which I think is really cool.
I think that speaks to like Kendrick's ability to keep focus on what he wants it to be. Yeah. You know, even if he's working with different people on different songs, you know?
Yeah. And this album was executive produced by Dr. Dre and by Top Dog, which he's on Top Dog Records, named for Anthony Tiffith. My fun little connection there is that I almost met him if the job I was working at had the product he wanted. He was coming in, so I had to talk to his wife on the phone and let him know that we didn't have it. But so I was kind of like, oh shit, this is like an actual person I've heard of. And I had to tell all my coworkers, and they were like, I don't believe you.
You got so close to seeing him.
Yeah, I was like, this dude knows Kendrick Lamar.
You see, if you had met him, then he would have come on the podcast for this episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There we go.
Because I'm great with talking to people that I don't know.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's get into the track list. We start off right away with Wesley's Theory. This one is featuring, I'm going to also read the features because there's a few features that aren't credited as writers on there. So it features George Clinton and Thundercat, This one is written by Kendrick Lamar, Boris Gardner, George Clinton, Flying Lotus, Ronald Flippa Coulson, and Thundercat. And it's produced by Flying Lotus and Flippa with additional production by Soundwave and Thundercat. What did you think about this one?
So I gave this one a 4.
Me too.
The start almost like doesn't feel like rap to me. Like it is obviously, but like it feels like.
I mean, there's a lot of parts of this album that like he's not rapping in. There's spoken word. He does poetry.
No, yeah, exactly.
There's singing. He sings as well.
And I obviously know that like just because like they're on rapping doesn't mean that it's not a rap song.
It has an influence of R&B and funk.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Like I feel like you can feel that in this song. Like I said, you know, like I feel like from this very first song, the lyrics right away, like they're very poetic. Like there is so much to it that I feel like you have to listen to it several times to understand like what it's about.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like kind of the whole album. And as someone that like, I'm like, I don't feel like I can specifically talk about like what it all means because I need to listen to it more. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. There was a lot of like talk of a cocoon and like the symbolism of like, you know, going like turning into a butterfly, which I thought was really, really interesting.
I do want to say that I forgot to mention this. This is my first time listening to the album.
Yeah,
I'm the music person, so I feel bad that I never listened to this album before because this is a classic. This is like a modern classic.
Yeah.
I have never really been a Kendrick Lamar fan. And that's not to say that I don't like him because I think he's potentially one of the most talented musicians ever.
Yeah.
I'll dive into this more as we get further into it. But yeah, for a number of reasons, I haven't listened to this album. And then I also have a problem where when everybody tells me you should listen to this album, you'll really like it. I'm like, I'm not going to now because I don't want you to be right. You know, like I want to discover it on my own.
Well, what did you think of the song?
I gave it a 4. This is my favorite song from the album.
Really?
Yeah. So we just start off strong.
Wow.
This one, to me, I really loved the funk influence. I just think it's a really tight song. And I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about it that's like that differentiates it from some of the other songs, because there are other songs on here that I really loved and like connected with, which I'll talk about.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this one, when I first started, I was like, this is a 4, and I never questioned it. I listened to it again and I was like, yeah, it is a 4.
Same thing with me.
Like, yeah. And just based off that score, it's my favorite song on the album. There are some other songs which I think do other things better than this one does.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I really just enjoyed this song.
I think it's like a really good starter to, you know, like to the album.
Yeah.
Which I know we talk about quite a bit.
We have been ever since Troye Sivan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to say that there's the lyric on here, what you want you, a house or a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, which comes up later.
Yeah.
On All Right.
I also do wonder, 40 acres and a mule. I know that's also Spike Lee's production company.
Oh, it's...
I believe. And I know it's like used a lot because...
I don't remember what it's from. I think it's from like the Homestead Act of like westward expansion.
Like I know it has...
It's in American
with, like,
history.
Historical. Yeah. So I did find that interesting. And
then I also wanted to say, with that lyric appearing on both of these songs, a lot of this stuff I got was from Genius because I had to be like... I need like context of this, you know, like how do I understand this? Like I get it, but how do I talk about it?
Yeah,
I guess.
Exactly.
And so it draws comparisons between Uncle Sam and the devil, which I think is really cool. And also I wanted to say we watched the Super Bowl together. No, not together. No. You weren't there. That's right. I watched it with most of our friends.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah, but we both watched the Super Bowl.
I didn't.
You didn't watch this? Oh my God. I swear to God you did.
I was at work. Remember?
That's right. I forgot about that.
When the Super Bowl comes around, I'd be making pizzas.
Have you seen his performance or not?
I've seen bits. I want to watch the full thing. Like sit down and watch the full thing.
So you won't understand this, but our audience will, because I'm assuming basically everybody in America watched the Super Bowl.
Pretty much.
But he had Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam.
I know that. I
was always kind of like, oh, that's a cool idea. I did not realize that was based on this album. Yeah. Like, you know, it plays very much into the theme of America. And then also this song talks about a relationship, like you was my first girlfriend or whatever he says. I saw on Genius that they say it's his relationship to rap. I think it's his relationship to America, personally. because a lot of this album deals with the Black experience in America.
I feel like that is one of, if not the like main theme of this album.
Yeah. And it's and America's always personified as a woman as well. Like in some other countries, it's a man, like the fatherland. Yeah. But America's always been a woman.
Yeah.
It's Colombia.
Exactly.
It's the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Didn't notice, like I didn't catch on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is my favorite. It's a 4. Moving on to the next one, For Free, ? Interlude. This one is written by Kendrick Lamar, Terrace Martin, and Rose McKinney, and produced by Terrace Martin. This is a jazz song for you.
Yeah, it's very jazzy. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. It's a very interesting interlude. Like, I do feel like you can tell that it is an interlude.
Much different from the other interlude later, which I think is called For Sale, which is like 5 minutes long and it feels like a fully developed song. This one is more, it's a one verse.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and there's a connection like for free, for sale.
Right, yeah.
Which I just realized now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I gave this one a 3.5. I thought it was, for an interlude of very,
Yeah, this one is a 2.5 for me. I like it, but I just didn't connect with it, and I know I'm not the intended audience for it. So, that's what a lot of this comes down to, is like some of this stuff I can like draw parallels in my own life. Some of it is like, I'm not a Black person.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I'm just not going to have that same frame of reference that he does.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because like I did give so much of this like so many of these songs high scores, and so much of that is me like seeing the art of it, and less so of like, oh, like I would listen to this all the time. Like I probably wouldn't listen to this album that much just because I'm not that interested in it, but like so many my scores are reflective of like the artistry that I see, like
and I also wanted to touch on that, because for me, my scores are personal. This is not, and this is where it comes into like music criticism versus like for each person. Everyone has a different opinion, and I don't want somebody to think that my opinion is correct. This is my own opinion. This is your opinion.
Obviously.
I'm not trying to make a definitive case of this is a good song and this isn't a good song. I may do that at some point, and I will tell you when I'm doing that, but I'm not doing that here, and I haven't done it
and
yet.
I know that you're not doing that at all.
I just want to clarify, because I feel like that's what I hate about a lot of music people, music reviewers specifically, and journalists, is this is my opinion, this is it. You don't get to say anything else. And there's a few people who I won't name that do this, specifically YouTubers, that are very much like, well, this is what I think of it, and this is what you should think of it, and because it's what I think.
Very widespread. That's spread in like the film YouTube side.
And that's something that I hate, absolutely hate about criticism of art.
Yeah, me too.
Because everyone's going to have their own opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to tell you anything. I'm just telling you what I think about it for myself.
Yeah.
And for me, this song, I respect it, and I see the vision of it. It doesn't hit for me because I don't have this experience, and I'm not discrediting like anything else. This is just the fact that he made this album is like incredible.
No, and like when I brought up the point not to like say that you are, which I know like that's not
absolutely
what you thought, but like I also just wanted to give context of like, like the way that I am approaching.
Yes, and I also wanted to do that because I feel like this is kind of the perfect example of something that is not for me that I can still appreciate and find things that I enjoy about it. But ultimately, this is not going to be like something that I return to. Yeah. But like, that's not to say that it's bad and I disliked it. Exactly. I really enjoyed my time listening to this album, and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Like that's the same exact thing for me, where it's like my ratings are reflective of my respect for this album and for Kendrick Lamar, even though like, as a listener, I probably wouldn't really come back to it that much, Yeah. Which I will say there are a few songs that I will come back to. Same with me.
Including this next one, King Kunta.
Oh.
3.5 for me.
I gave it a 3.5 too.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one is written by Kendrick Lamar, Soundwave, Johnny Burns, Michael Jackson. Yes, that Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Because he'd interpreted or like interpolated
Oh, like some of his
Annie, Are You Okay? In that one part. Yeah. So Michael Jackson got credit. Ahmad Lewis and Redfoo of LMFAO. Mm-hmm. Do you know who that is? Party Rock is in the house tonight.
I've probably heard it.
Okay. Yeah.
I've probably heard
Redfoo is generally thought of as kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But he has a credit on a Grammy-winning album and what some would consider the greatest album of all time.
Why not?
And this one is produced by Soundwave with additional production by Terrace Martin. Mm-hmm. So you gave it a 3.5. What did you think? Because the last song was also a 3.5.
Yeah. Well,
to me, I used the different numbers on here to mean different things. For me, a 3.5 is something that I'm actively going to listen to and take away from this album.
I mean, I honestly don't know like exactly what my scores mean. I kind of just went with like my gut,
whatever you felt.
I will say I think like my scores would shift if I like went back to all the songs, because like I said, you need to really listen to this more than once to like understand the songs. Mm-hmm. I did think the lyrics were really, really interesting in the song.
Yeah,
very interesting.
And I want to ask you,
I think it's just like maybe like the song itself just didn't like hit as much. For me.
I want to ask you about
the first one.
The first verse. This is a diss at Drake. So a lot of people are saying.
Maybe
some people are thinking.
I think I just don't know enough about rap to like tell.
That's true. I will put in my 2 cents and say probably.
Yeah.
Because
which is interesting because he also worked on this album, right?
Drake?
Oh, sorry, Drake. Sorry. I for some reason you said Drake and I heard Dr. Dre. I take it back.
No.
I take it back.
Okay.
Obviously Drake did not work on this album.
No, he was on the last one though.
Really?
He's on Good Kid, Mad City. And
so
I
like their
believe
feud started after that.
Yeah, and Kendrick, I believe it was on Take Care on the deluxe version. He had a feature, or maybe it was on the original. But so they've worked together before, and then they were both on the song "Fucking Problems" by A$AP Rocky with 2 Chainz as well. Yeah. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so they did have a history, and in this, so this came out in 2015. In 2015, Drake released his mixtape. If you're reading this, it's too late. Which that one was the one that started the whole controversy because there were some leaked demos of another guy rapping the songs as kind of like a demo.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one where I want to bring up the diss towards Drake. And this is something that is not about Drake necessarily. This is about the music industry as a whole and specifically genres where, well, no, this is about art. Yeah. And it's the idea of the singular genius. Is the person who has to create everything. And because he talks about ghostwriters on here, which I know like he worked as a ghostwriter before. There are plenty of people who work as ghostwriters. Ghost producers are very common in EDM as well. And I don't like that idea because ultimately to me, it's not about the person. It's about the product you create. And I hate using the word product. I guess the piece of art you create, because ultimately you should be doing as an artist what's best for the piece of art you're making. And if that means bringing in other people to help you execute that vision, I have no problem with it. Yeah. I think the problem that a lot of people have is when it's like, when you pass it off as something only you made, which, that is a problem. But ultimately, if you're getting art that is good, I don't really care. I mean, as long as people are getting paid, No,
I mean, obviously.
It's up to them if they want the respect of writing these things or contributing to them in some way. I think that's something to work out with the team and be like, I want a feature on here, or I want something else, some sort of credit.
I don't know. I think I'd have to like look into it more because I just don't know the music world. Well, also the beef.
The beef is interesting. It has its own Wikipedia page, and I believe it's treated as a war.
Oh yeah,
on Wikipedia, which is pretty fun.
You can see like the people on the two sides,
the generals on each side.
But I mean, I do agree about like, I don't know. In film, there's like the auteur theory where like the director.
That's also something I've hated in film
and
forever.
That's
I would love to be a singular genius and that no one ever has to correct anything I do, because
I could just make stuff in my bedroom and that's it.
Exactly. And I'm perfect then, but I don't think that's how it works.
But it's like, unless you're writing, directing, editing, unless you're doing everything, acting in it, then maybe, but even then, like, I'm sorry, but you can't run the camera and act and like do everything at the same time.
Put it up on a tripod.
And I don't think that means that like you like aren't a genius maybe, or that like your influences make, but being like a soul genius.
Yeah, this is definitely not to say that anyone isn't a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have tremendous respect for pretty much all of the music that I listen to, even if I don't like it, because it's like, wow, you made this.
Yeah,
you know, like just the act of doing it is like incredible.
Yeah, but I do think like that idea of like the soul genius is very persistent in anything. In any art form.
I've noticed it a lot in EDM music. That's when I first encountered it, because there's a lot of DJs who don't really know how to produce anything. They're really good at like live performances and like mixing things together, but they just really can't produce. So they have other people come in and produce for them and then quote unquote lie that they produced it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that becomes a problem to some people.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if the song's good, cool. If the song's bad, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as people are getting paid, I don't really care. But I also want to say, I was going to kill a couple rappers, but they did it themselves. Everybody's suicidal. They ain't even need my help. Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines from the album. That's fucking crazy.
I think this song has some of like the best lyrics in the album.
And it has one of the best flows on the album as well.
Oh, yeah.
Institutionalized is next, featuring Bilal, Anna Wise, and Snoop Dogg, written by Kendrick Lamar, Rocky, Tommy Black, and Sam Barsh, produced by Rocky and Tommy Black. This one's a 3 for me.
I give this one a 4. Okay. Just like the last one, to be honest, like I thought the lyrics were really, really interesting. I even wrote some of them down, like can't stop from going back to where you were from, freeing yourself from the place you came from, and letting everyone fly away free from that. I just thought like they're I don't know, they were really, really interesting lyrics to me.
I also wrote down a lyric from this one, which is get up and wash your ass.
Yeah, I mean, you know, why not?
Yeah, exactly. That's good advice to remember. Yeah, this one to me, this is a song. A 3 to me is good.
Yeah.
A 3.5 is great. So in this instance, a 3 means I respect this song and I like it. This is not something I'm going to listen to.
No, yeah, for me, like this was like I respect the song and I respect like the lyrics a lot. I don't want to spoil it, but like at one point we'll get to a score that is higher, and that is my favorite song.
Okay,
and that's
this is
like,
interesting.
That's the song that I'm like I would listen to this, like, you know.
Yeah, this is interesting that the roles have reversed, because I feel like I'm usually the one where it's like my favorite song's coming up, guys, get ready.
I know,
and now it's like first song. You know,
there we go. First, yeah.
You know,
but I mean, there's like the fact that it's your highest rated song and is your first song, but like there are other songs that you also, you know.
Yes, yeah, there are other songs that I'm gonna talk about as being like extremely memorable moments from the album and stuff that's like made it onto my playlist of stuff I'm gonna listen to.
But yeah, I thought the song was very interesting. And there's talking about like where you're coming, like where you came from, and kind of your relationship with that.
There's a lot of jazz on this song.
Yeah,
there's a lot of jazz on this album, which I was not expecting.
Which I maybe like kind of pushed my scores higher or something.
Yeah,
even though I was kind of approaching it from like putting aside myself in a way. Even then, I guess I just like jazz. Yeah,
maybe we should listen to some more jazz.
I'm down.
Next up is These Walls, featuring Bilal, Anna Wise, and Thundercat, written by Kendrick Lamar, Terrace Martin, Lawrence Dobson, James Fauntleroy, and Rose McKinney. Produced by Terrace Martin and Lawrence Dobson. Additional production by Soundwave. This one, to me, is a 2.5.
Wow.
I didn't like this one as much as Institutionalized.
That's really interesting, because this is a 4.5.
This is your favorite?
My favorite song for the
Interesting.
album. Yeah.
Okay, this is not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be one of the ones I rated lower that'd be your favorite, but I thought it was going to be the next song.
Really? I mean, I could see that too. But I don't know. Something really just struck me about the song. Both like I'm going to bring it again. The lyrics.
I was going to say, I wrote down this song didn't do much for me lyrically.
Really? I feel like, you know, the idea of like the walls, like obviously, like there are symbolism for like vagina and stuff like that, but
I read The Genius as well.
I looked it up for this song, but I do think that like you can also see that as symbolism for so many other things in the song. Prison, like the list goes on and on. The lyrics were really interesting, and then also just the music itself, like the background music and the voices. I think that just worked for me in the song. And I feel like the chorus was also a little like R&B maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely there's influences from everything on here. Yeah, everywhere.
Which I think I just like R&B. Like yeah.
Which is interesting, because I feel like R&B is one of the genres that I connect with the least.
That's interesting.
Out of the
I mean, I've listened to very little. But what
should
I've
do some
listened
R&B.
to, I feel like I've liked.
Yeah. I have an album that I really want to do. That's an R&B album.
I'm very intrigued now to hear what it is. But yeah, I think that's why it just worked for me.
Yeah, I wrote down probably my least favorite. So I should have realized that would be your favorite.
Yeah, of course.
But I was thinking it's too obvious for me to think that like, you know, my least favorite is going to be your favorite. I thought it'd be one of the other ones that I was just like, I didn't really connect with it.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is like the trend of the podcast now.
It might be.
Yeah, we'll see in the future.
So You is the next song. This is written by Kendrick Lamar, Taz Arnold, and Who Are I? Produced by Taz Arnold and Who Are I? Additional production by Soundwave. This one's a 2.5 for me.
This one's a 3.5.
This is kind of the part of the album where I was like, all right, this is nice. Like, I appreciate it. I mean, spoiler alert, I really enjoyed the second half of the album a lot more than the first half. I don't really know where that like split happens, but the second half is just higher overall. And that's when I was like, okay, I get the vision now. Some of these songs didn't hit as much for me.
I mean, I will say I feel like the middle kind of didn't hit as much for me.
Okay.
Which I think we'll kind of see. Although there's still songs that I thought were really good. Yeah, I don't know.
This is emotional.
It was
an
emotional
song.
It is a very emotional song.
And I think
it's, I don't know, talking about a lot of complex, maybe himself or things related to himself, you know?
Yeah, I wrote down it's the idea of like fame removing you from the life you've known.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting because there's a lot of guilt in this album that you can feel where it's like, he feels like, wow, I made it out of Compton. I feel bad for the people who didn't. And I love that. Yeah. Like it's bittersweet, which is my favorite thing.
You can really feel it in this song a lot.
Absolutely. Like, yeah. I think this is the song that you feel the most.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of the heavier songs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Next up, we have the light one.
Yeah.
All right. This is a 3.5 for me. I'll just get that out of the way.
I give it a 3.
This is written. Oh, interesting.
I think this is like, I was like, it's fine.
This is written by Kendrick Lamar, Pharrell Williams, and Soundwave, and produced by Pharrell Williams and
Pharrell
Soundwave.
Williams.
Yep.
I was going to say.
Tracks. Now, listen to this when we listen in the future. Pharrell Williams has this thing that everybody knows now, which isn't a secret, is he starts every one of his beats with a 4 count. Yeah. And it's usually this first note or like the first chunk of the that gets like repeated. You'll notice that whenever we listen to other Pharrell songs, and immediately, like, I've heard parts of this song and I figured Pharrell was involved in the album in some way, but then I heard it and I was like, oh that's the Pharrell beat.
Now I'm very like intrigued to go back and like I'm trying to remember Happy and be like, is that in there? Like even in there?
Yes, it is.
Damn.
Is that right at the start? And he produced like half of Ariana Grande's album Sweetener, which we'll listen to at some point. Because we have to do like pop, which is my domain. But you can, even there, you hear it and you hear his production style and you're like, that's Pharrell.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah, this song, this is one of my favorites. This won Best Rap Performance and Rap Song at the Grammys. Nice. The second verse, I said, it might actually be my favorite flow on the album.
I want to go back and listen to it like specifically. Now.
Yeah, like in rap music, I enjoy the different flows a lot of times. Yeah. But to me, the ones that always like catch my attention are when the voice and the words you're saying become an instrument. It's very percussive and it's very like, it's rhythmic, much more than just like kind of pop music can be.
I feel like that is in many cases, like it's probably a lot harder to pull off than many might think, you know? Because you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, like, but then you try it and you're like, oh my god.
You also need to know when to use it, because like it doesn't work at all times. And if you're just constantly doing like really rhythmic stuff, it's like, all right, I get it. You know, like it doesn't hit the same way. But then when you have the second verse like this, it's really hits for me.
Very satisfying beat drop.
Yeah. Song. Yeah, I said probably the best beat on the album as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I wanted to say this quote that I saw in Genius from Geraldo Rivera of Fox News. This is why I say that hip hop has done more damage to African Americans than racism in recent years. This is exactly the wrong message, because he talks about like police brutality and like fuck the cops in this song, which like obviously, but like it's just,
if you look at what they've been doing, like,
it's just funny that like, I don't know, that they also included a Fox News thing.
Yeah, that's
next up we have For Sale Interlude. This is the one that's, I don't remember how long it is. It might be like almost 5 minutes.
I think it is 5 minutes.
This is a big ass interlude.
Yeah.
This is written by Kendrick Lamar and Taz Arnold and produced by Taz Arnold and Who Are I with additional production by Soundwave. I wrote down, this song feels classic in the best way.
Yeah.
This is a 3 for me.
I give it a 4.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, this is something that is not really my style, but we're hanging out with our friends and put it on in the car. I'm like, hell yeah, this is fucking crazy.
No, exactly. I feel like it is kind of a shift, which like arguably like that's what an interlude is, right?
Yeah, and I feel like All Right kind of started that shift.
Yeah, and this is kind of like moving the shift into like the next part of the album. Yeah, I just think it's very well done. And like you said, it is much more classical, you know?
You mean not as in classical music, as in classic music?
As in classic, yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm mixing up on words.
Just wanted to clarify.
Just to clarify for the audience. Brandon knows like my verbal missteps. You guys don't.
Verbal missteps.
Exactly. And yeah, I do I think that did work for me, which is why I give it a 4. But yeah, it is more dependent on the person, probably, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll like this next song because I gave it a 2.5. It's called Mama.
I give this one a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not as much as I was expecting. Written by Kendrick Lamar, Knowledge, Taz Arnold, Sly Stone. Yes, that Sly Stone. Layla Hathaway, Rasan Patterson, and Rex Rideout, and produced by Knowledge and Taz Arnold.
When you said yes, that name, I forgot the name you said.
Sly Stone.
Yeah. I feel like the audience were like, yeah. And
Sly
then I
and the
was
Family
like,
Stone.
I don't know who that is.
Legends.
I gotta say, was that a reference to Kanye West? That was, right? Wasn't there a reference? I don't remember the actual lyric now, but I feel like there was a reference to Kanye West somewhere.
There might have been. I don't remember.
I wish I wrote down the actual lyric now, but I didn't. But I feel like there was.
You can look it up right now if you want. You got a computer.
Let's pause.
There is a way of knowing now. This is the song that's about like returning home, and there's 3 ways to think about home, and it's Compton, Africa, and the person you were before fame.
Right. Which I know that he even like went to Africa before this.
Yeah, I went to South Africa. Saw Nelson Mandela's prison cell. Yeah, but it's interesting because a lot of people are reading this song as kind of like the homeland of Africa. Yeah. And it made me think of the Back to Africa movement, Marcus Garvey from like the 10s and 20s, 1910s and 20s. Yeah. And yeah, it's really interesting because this is where you get like obviously Kendrick Lamar reads because like this stuff is holy shit, you have to be operating at such a high level intellectually to think of these things. Yeah, this is just one of those ones where I was like, okay, yeah, this is like literature. It's more literature than music at some points, which I think is crazy. And I understand completely how he won the Pulitzer for this because it's like absolutely.
It's reaching a level of like poetry that's
that's way above my head
level. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something that I'm never going to be able to write.
Yeah. I couldn't write this like if I was just trying to write just poetry. Like my poetry is
can't write this if I'm trying to copy it.
I also can't find what made me think there was a reference to Kanye West now.
I really can't. I can't help you there. I don't remember.
There goes that. Forget I mentioned Kanye West in this episode.
He's fighting with Kim right now.
I saw.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangerous stuff there. Also, I saw that part of the problem with him might be the fact that he doesn't have real teeth, which I didn't know about.
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that as
well. I
read
that.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was just so...
He has to get new teeth every year, potentially.
Yeah.
And then now he's addicted to nitrous, obviously, which he's been for a while. But it's like interesting. It starts to make more sense. And then he's having a bipolar breakdown in front of everyone, which is not good, and he should really get help. So Kanye, if you're listening to this...
Get help.
Please. For the sake of everyone in the world.
Yeah, please.
Next up, we move on to Hood Politics, written by Kendrick Lamar, Tay Beast, Soundwave, Thundercat, and Sufjan Stevens.
Whoa.
Yep, sampled Sufjan Stevens.
I did not realize that.
Produced by Tay Beast, Soundwave, and Thundercat. I didn't know that either, and I looked at the credits and I saw S. Stevens, and I was like, I think I know who that is.
Yeah. Which incidentally, we gotta listen to one of his albums.
Yes, we will. This is a 3.5 for me, boo-boo.
3.5 for me too.
This is fucking crazy. I love this song. This is so good. This one, to me, I think Wesley Theory is more complete, but this one is more this is something I want to listen to all the time.
I will say it also feels out of this album, one of the songs that is kind of more complete than some of the others, I feel like. And by that, I feel like you mean one that can stand alone outside of the context of the album. Yeah, which I feel about All Right as well, where it's very much like the album is
like the album is God here. The album is the thing that you're working towards. And a lot of the songs are like, they have to exist in the context of this album. Like this is an album where I would feel bad listening to like 3 songs. It's like, well, I should just listen to the whole thing then because like it's supposed to be like that. But this is a song where I feel like you can take it out of the context and it still works as its own thing.
Also like the Compton Zoo, like that lyric, like damn, that's, I don't know, just the lyrics in this
song. There's a lot of great lyrics in this one. And I also had to shout out the production on this one because this is probably my second favorite beat. It's very modern and like West Coast, but it feels so like spiritually and sonically connected to the rest of the album and like the jazz influences.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that I would go back to too. Like honestly, like I kind of want to give it a higher score now that I'm thinking
I'm also thinking about it. It might actually be a 4
because it's just like it's so interesting. I don't know.
I just have the beat in my head right now.
Yeah.
Like I can hear it.
Well,
it's
like
that
kind of song. Yeah.
It's really good. Damn. So that might be a 4. I think I still have to say Wesley's Theory is my favorite song because to me, that's the most like, I don't know. There's something about it that just hits right for me.
Well, yeah.
But this one is a really close second.
Yeah.
Also to 3.5 is my next one. How Much a Dollar Cost?
Also 3.5 for me.
This one's featuring James Fauntleroy and Ronald Isley of the Isley Brothers. Written by Kendrick Lamar, Terrace Martin, Joseph Lineberg, Rose McKinney, James Fauntleroy, and Ronald Isley, and produced by Love Dragon. This, I wrote down, is probably my favorite storytelling on the album.
I know. It's really, really interesting. Like listening to...
This is very classic in the fact of like you're narrating like a story. And that's a lot of like the classic rap that I've heard is much more like, I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah.
And this one feels like that, where it's very classic, but then it's so modern and so influenced by class and like a real life.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, I mean, he says Parasite in here, but this
is our connection to
this is the one that I was like, oh my God, it's the Kim family. Like
they're the beggar. Like,
yep, exactly. But they're also him later
because they turn into him.
Yes, but because they're like, I came from this, but now I'm above you and you suck. And I love that he was kind of like admitting that in this song where he's like, I kind of hate this dude, even though I could have been him. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And then the beggar ends up like putting judgment on him when he's like, oh, wait, I'm actually God. Which is like, I don't know, in some ways you can kind of see in the film where it's like the people that they look down on lead to their own kind of, demise. Yep. Which we'll get into later. But yeah. I don't know.
And also have to shout out the working class. We are stronger together. We have more in common with each other than with the ownership class or whatever you want to call them. So go tell your friends.
The real problem is classism.
Exactly. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds like you're comparing it to racism.
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean like the real problem is the billionaires.
Yes, the billionaires want us to be divided.
Exactly.
And the millionaires, the 100 millionaires, the rich people in general. Yeah. We're not rich.
You shouldn't have more than 10 million.
Once you successfully buy everything that can humanly be bought, then whatever.
Yeah. Once you can go on vacation every year comfortably.
I do think there should also be a minimum. Yeah. Like you can't earn less than this.
Oh,
like you have to, like
with inflation, that should honestly be like 70,000 a year or something.
Yeah.
Like,
at this point, it is. I mean, I remember when I moved out here, they were saying 55,000 is what you should be making if you're a single person living in a studio apartment in LA. And that had to have gone up now.
Oh yeah, by a lot.
Especially if you need to support a family. Yeah. Like you got to be into 6 figures at least. Anyway, I really enjoyed this song. The next one we have is Complexion, a Zulu Love, featuring Rhapsody, written by Kendrick Lamar, Rhapsody, Thundercat, and Soundwave, produced by Thundercat and Soundwave, with additional production by Terrace Martin and The Antidote.
I give this a 4.
Okay, this one's a 3 for me. This is another one where it's like I respect what they're doing and I really enjoy it. This is not something that I can relate to and not something that it's about colorism. I can't
relate to this one at all. Yeah. But it is definitely like, I don't know, I have a lot of respect for this song.
Absolutely.
And what it talks about. Yeah. I'm also like, since it isn't really for me, I also just don't have that much to say about it because I'm like, I feel like I can't.
Yeah. I also feel the same way. Like I don't really have as much to say. Yeah. But I did want to say that I thought Rhapsody's verse was really good on this. I've heard her a few other times, and I've never really connected to her. But this one is really cool, and it's very interesting. I thought it was a very well done song.
Yeah.
Next song we have is "The Blacker the Berry," written by Kendrick Lamar, Boy Wonder, Kaz, Ken Lewis, Brent Colatalo, Assassin, Esquerdo, and Zale Epstein, and produced by Boy Wonder and Kaz with additional production by Terrace Martin. This is a 3.5.
I give this one a 4.
This is a good song.
Yeah. I also love the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kendrick's in his literary bag again.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote down here, I can't really say much other than listen to it because you have to. Like, there's nothing that me, a white person, can say about this song that isn't said better than the people who made this. I can't
add anything to this conversation. Like,
exactly. You know. Go listen to the song, everybody. If you're going to listen to one like conscious hip hop song from this album,
100% this one. Yeah.
Yeah. There are other songs that I enjoy more because of,
but I do feel like
other reasons.
When it comes to songs talking about this is
one of the most
strongest.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically all we have to say. But shout out to that song. Then we got "You Ain't Gotta Lie, Mama Said," written by Kendrick Lamar, Terrace Martin, Rose McKinney, Joseph Lineberg, and Soundwave, and produced by Love Dragon. I gave this one a 3. And I wrote down the quote from Genius, which is "The loudest in the room is the weakest in the room," which is basically what the song is about.
Yeah, I really like that quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. I give this one a 4.
A 4, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like the middle of the album for me was a little bit weaker. And then in the beginning, and then
I agree.
This end part was, felt stronger to me.
This is a really strong run. I think "Mama" I connected to with less from this half of the album. But I don't know. This was one where I was like, I respect what they're doing, but this is not something that I really want to return to, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can see that.
It's good, and it has to exist on the album. That's the other thing. Like, none of these songs I'm like, oh, take that off the album. Like, they all work towards the story.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for me, the two that I would really return to would be Hood Politics and These Walls. But I'm still these other songs there. Well, maybe also The Blacker the Berry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these songs are still, I don't know, they have a lot of depth. And I have a lot of respect for them.
Then we move on to the penultimate song, "I," written by Kendrick Lamar, Rocky, O'Kelly Isley, Rudolph Isley, Ernie Isley, Ronald Isley, Marvin Isley, and Chris Jasper, and produced by Rocky. This, I wrote down, is one of my favorite ideas for a song. Yeah. It's live, but I could not find anything about if any of this was recorded live or if it was in a studio and then they made it sound live.
That. Yeah.
But this is so cool. This was the lead single.
Wow, really?
Yeah, which is interesting.
I can see that. I think that's a really interesting idea to release the song as a lead single.
On that idea of it being a live song, I feel like that elevated it so much more than anything it could have been in a studio kind of sound, because the live element really brings it. It's almost the idea of coming home, you know? I believe that he's performing this in somebody's backyard in Compton,
and at the end too, where it's spoken word,
there's a spoken word, and then there's also a fight in it too, which is it's so cool. It's so unique. It all
just adds to that feeling. I feel like.
Yeah, this one's a 3.5 for me.
This one's a 4 for me.
Okay, yeah, this is another one where I feel like I could bump it up a little bit, but the reason that it isn't going to be a 4 is because I wanted more of the song before we get to the argument and the spoken word. Yeah, I want Yeah.
You wanted it to be as long as the next song.
Yeah. I didn't realize the next song was 12 minutes long. I do have 2 quotes here from Kendrick. He says, "I've woken up in the morning and felt like shit, feeling guilty, feeling angry, feeling regretful. As a kid from Compton, you can get all the success in the world and still question your worth. My partner, Jason Estrada, told me, if you don't attack it, it will attack you. If you sit around moping, feeling sad and stagnant, it's going to eat you alive. I had to make that record. It's a reminder. It makes me feel good." Which, that's a perfect...
Yeah, that's
what he did. He set out to do it and 100%, he did it.
100%, yeah.
There's another quote from him that says, "This record feels great. It feels good, but it comes from a place of depression. It comes from a place of insecurity, not only for other people, but for myself. It's a lot of things that I deal with personally, that you deal with, that everyone in this room deals with. So it touches on so many different things as far as equality within us as human beings and accepting one another. People that want to commit suicide, people that just don't respect themselves or like the way they look, feel, talk, dress, and not accept who they are. We all put on this world to be kings and walk in his image. And that's how it starts, that song." I didn't have to look too hard for that because it was on Genius.
Yeah.
But
Genius has like all of that. Yeah.
Right. But I thought that those were like good quotes that say something that I can't, you know?
Yeah. They say it better than I ever could. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's also the guy who did it, you know?
Yeah,
like
so
he
it's
knows
like-
what he's doing.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the last song. I'm going to get it out of the way. This is a 3 for me. Mortal Man.
This is a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is written by Kendrick Lamar, Soundwave, Thundercat, and Fela Kuti, produced by Soundwave. And I wrote, the only note I had for this is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just an interesting song.
It's unique. It's a song, it's a poem, and it's a conversation.
It's just like this interesting mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, tons of respect for putting a 12-minute song on your album.
Yeah.
There's only a few albums I've listened to.
As the last song.
As the last song. And also the song not even being like 12 minutes. Like there's a poem and there's a conversation.
The main part of it almost.
Yeah. Like the track is 12 minutes long.
Yeah.
But like the song part of it is
really, really interesting.
It's super cool. And I feel like this is also, like we said about the intro, this is the perfect outro to this album.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine any other song on this album as the outro.
Yeah.
Like
this track list is perfectly crafted.
Yeah.
I probably should have prefaced that my song ratings are going to be lower because I generally am more of a song person than an album person. So for me, a lot of these songs are like I rate each individual song as its own thing.
Yeah.
But this album as a full piece is a 4 for me. I think this is
for me.
Yeah, this is a really strong album. This is really good. This is not something I'm going to listen to a lot because it's also very like emotional and it's not inaccessible, but it's very much like it's art.
Yeah, it is art, reserved. And it is very dense.
Yes. Yeah. There's so much here. Like I have to listen to this album multiple times because like multiple more times, I should say.
Yeah.
Because there's so much here that I missed, that I don't understand. And I think getting more of an education on Kendrick Lamar's career and like his other works is going to like,
where this
really
fits
help
into like his trajectory.
Yeah. And I did want to say that the first album I heard by him was Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which was 2022, I want to say. I think it was before I moved out here.
Yeah.
And that one I never really connected with. And I was like, I don't know if I just don't understand Kendrick Lamar. But after listening to this, I'm like, I understand him. And then I also want to say I really did like GNX, which came out last fall. That one, because that's more that's more like my style of rap. And I really enjoy like the West Coast beats and the production that's on that. So to me, that was more like accessible to the background that I have.
Yeah. Would you say this is like his most well-known album though, considering that he did win the Pulitzer for this?
I would say probably most well-known. This is definitely his most well-respected album. Universally. There are some people who will argue other albums. I'm going to take it back. I think Damn is probably his most known album, like commercially, because that one really did pretty well from a sales perspective. And that's like, I heard Humble on the radio, on pop radio, which I can't say for any of the songs on here.
Yeah.
You know, I heard Swimming Pools Drank from the first album on the pop radio, which was weird, but that's a good song, by the way.
We got to listen to that.
Yeah, we'll listen to Good Kid, Mad City. So I don't know. I think this is a really well-respected album, and I can see why people think this is like one of the best albums of all time. Yeah. For me personally, I have other albums I enjoy more, but I'm not saying that as like, well, this isn't as good. This is incredible.
Yeah. This is incredible. And that's,
this is a masterpiece.
Like, it is a masterpiece. I think that is like tying back to like, for me, like, I'm not interested in rap. So like, maybe that's why I prefer listening to some other ones, but that doesn't mean that I don't see the fact that it is in fact a masterpiece. Like, I think it's kind of hard to deny, you know? Like,
absolutely,
after you listen to it.
Some things I said before may be taken the wrong way, but I don't think there's anyone as talented of a writer as Kendrick Lamar in rap. He's 100%. One of one. And I grew up listening more to Drake. I like pop rap more than like real, quote unquote, real hip hop. Yeah. But Drake is nowhere near anything that, like, he's a good pop. He's
Brandon
a good pop
taking
star.
A firm stance on the feud.
On the feud. Yeah. Although either of you, Kendrick, Drake, if you hit me up, I will produce for either of you. So let me know.
Exactly.
In the DMs, they're always open.
We welcome either of you on the podcast.
Yes, I am in LA. I can be to either of your places whenever you want.
Exactly. Let's get into it.
Let's get into Parasite. This is Korean. We should say this is in Korean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for those of you,
it's our first foreign language movie.
That's true. I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, technically, like Call Me by Your Name has parts, but it's not like this is almost entirely in Korean.
It is considered like an English language film.
Right. Yeah.
Unlike this.
And it's an English co-production, right? Call Me by Your Name.
I'm not sure. It might be like a British co-production. Okay. But I'm not sure.
English-speaking country co-production. Yeah.
Pretty much.
This is solely Korean, correct? Okay. Yeah.
As far as I know, I believe it is 100% Korean. But yeah, I mean, also like anyone that doesn't know this film, what rock have you been living under? Like,
yeah, I mean, I obviously have never seen this before.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you knew of it.
Oh yeah, I knew about it as soon as it came out because everybody was like, "Holy shit, the Koreans are good at making movies," and it was like people had not understood that there are movies outside of the English language, and I was kind of like, for me, that was weird because I mean, I'm not America centric, you know.
Yeah. Well, like for anyone that has watched more than like
superhero movies.
Yeah, they know that. They know that like Korea has been making great movies for a long time.
And great music, which
we'll have to listen to. Some K-pop.
And K-pop and like also just other stuff from
just
Korea.
In general, yeah.
We'll have to listen to Psy, Gangnam Style.
Man, I can't wait for that. That's going to bring back a lot of childhood memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good song, I will say.
It is a good song.
It holds up.
It is catchy, but then it's also just a good song.
It's enjoyable. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's fun to listen to. But anyway.
I will listen to it. Anyway,
back to Parasite.
Getting to the movie, yeah. As usual, I'll start with the IMDb logline, then run down the credits. Greeting class discrimination threatened a newly formed symbiotic relationship between the wealthy Park family and the destitute Kim clan. Obviously, as everyone knows, directed by Bong Joon-ho. And before I get into the next credits, I am going to do my best to pronounce these names. I am so sorry to the Korean people. I will probably like butcher these names.
And you know what? This is a case for Armenia not being in Asia.
Exactly. We are European. I'm sorry.
You said or Middle Eastern because you were like, I can handle the Middle Eastern names.
And I don't know. I might be able to. We'll see.
Yeah, but that's also a debate that we've been having since like the time we've known each other. Because like Armenia's in Eurovision, and like, I mean, it is. You know, I don't know.
It is kind of a mix. I would say there are kind of, we do have something from both like Asian and European cultures, but ultimately we are, I feel like, far more European. Yeah. Just like based off like our culture.
But anyway, go ahead and say some names here.
It's time to sadly butcher some names. Yeah. But I was written by Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won.
I didn't say anything.
I know. I just like I know I'm gonna butcher something, so I'm just already laughing. Cinematographer was Hong Kyung-pyo. The music was written by Jung Jae-il. It was edited by Hang Jin-mo. The main cast is Song Kang-ho, Lee Sun-kyun, Cho Yo-jung, Choi Woo-shik, Park So-dam, and Jang Hae-jin. That was better than I expected, but still pretty bad. But anyway, to give some background, Bong Joon-ho actually got the idea for this film based off his own experiences when he was working as a tutor for a rich family when he was in his 20s.
Interesting.
Which I had no idea. And he wrote it as a play, but then eventually, he turned it into a screenplay. The Kim's basement apartment that you see in this film is actually like a real type of apartment that they have in Korea. Even though like they built this specific one as a set so they could control, like the flooding, the fumigation, all that kind of stuff. But then it's also tied into, the themes of, upstairs, downstairs, etc.
And literally like being physically below.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Like we were talking about like class solidarity 5 minutes ago. This is very much what this film is about. Like if they had been like together in this film, but anyway, we'll get into that later. I also wanted to ask you, in the end, the son of the, in the Kim family, he's like, I'm going to buy the house. This is kind of a debate that's been going on. Do you think he actually bought the house or not?
I don't care.
Yeah.
And I like that.
That's interesting.
Because to me, the fact that it's open-ended makes me like it more because I could see either way, but choosing either way.
Which I think is very much why they don't tell you in the thing.
Yeah. So I It's taken me a while to like come to terms with open endings, but now that I have, I prefer them over you telling me what I'm supposed to feel. You know, like I like the fact that it's kind of like, oh, okay, now I can think more.
I 100% agree. That being said, I will say Bong Joon-ho has said that the ending implies that he would never be able to buy the house.
That's what I lean towards.
Because he could never afford it.
Right.
Yeah, which I do feel like a lot of people do kind of lean towards that.
Yeah,
but I do love
hope.
like the open-ended aspect of it. And then quickly, I do want to say, obviously this film won the Palme d'Or in 2019. It was the first Korean film to ever win that award at the Cannes Film Festival. It also won unanimously, which only happened once before when Blue is the Warmest Color won in 2013.
Interesting.
Which I haven't seen, but I know that film is kind of divisive, so I was surprised.
Yes, I've also heard that.
Yeah, but then it was the first Korean film to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards and became the first non-English language film to ever win, which speaks to the Academy.
I completely understand why.
Yeah.
Like this is,
Oh, yeah. And then Bong Joon-ho became only the second Asian director to win after Ang Lee, who's won twice, I believe.
For American
only
or
two?
British film or English language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it is...
Yeah, only two.
Yeah, only two. It is actually in a very exclusive club of films. And it became only the second film that won both the Palme d'Or and the Best Picture at the Academy Awards. The first one was Marty, that came out 65 years before Parasite.
Jesus.
And of course, the last and third member was this year's Anora. But just wanted to throw that out there. And obviously, like, I guess I'll just start off. This is a 5 out of 5 film for me. I completely agree. You know, people have said this is one of, if not the best films that have come out so far in the 21st century. And I completely agree. I think this is both like on a technical scale, on a story, like across the board. I feel like this is just like Ordinary People. One of the films that you watch and you're like, how is it possible that something this good has been made?
Yeah.
You know,
what did you
think?
This is the type of film I've been waiting for on the podcast. There was not a single moment where I was thinking about anything other than the movie, which makes it the easiest 5 ever.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about my score once until it hit the credits, which I've done in every other one where I was like, I think this will make it this. This, I just finished it and I was like 5. This is one of the best pieces of media I've ever seen.
It's crazy just how perfect every moment is. Like
literally
there's
everything.
No other way to describe
There's
it.
nothing I would change about the screenplay. There's nothing I would change about the cinematography or the set. There's nothing I would change about the acting. I thought it was all incredible.
Yeah.
This is great. This is like crazy.
Yeah. Also that twist, one of the best like twists.
Which twist? Because there's a few.
There's a few, but I'm talking like the midpoint twist where you find out about the basement, where the whole story just switches from arguably like being a simpler but still amazing film about like, oh, they're like, you know, a parasite. They're like, you know, taking over as the servants of this rich family to turning into this, I don't even know how to describe it, like this whole other fever dream of, you know.
Becomes like a crime film almost.
Like, it's like it turns into a thriller. And it just, I don't know, it's like perfect. I don't remember his name, but the actor that plays like the husband of the former housekeeper, his performance is like,
oh my god, he's really good.
That like we talked about this before we started recording this episode, the famous shot of like of like where you see just his eyes that
from the basement.
The first time I saw that, like that was just bone chilling to me.
And I also mentioned this, that I was like, I wasn't scared by it. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. This is so cool.
We discovered Brandon's new kink.
Right, which I guess I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Which also,
then it's time to show you some horror movies.
I think we should watch some horror movies because I haven't been scared by anything. I've been startled in a way, and I've been mostly like, or I'm excited to see how this will fuck everything up for the characters. You know, like.
So I'm very intrigued to show you some horror movies.
But this was great. This also did not feel like 2 hours and 13 minutes. I think it was.
It goes by so fast.
Really, and it's not like a fast movie necessarily.
Not at all. It takes its time.
Yeah, but it feels like fast in a way. Like,
and it builds. Like, I think the build is exceptional. Because if you think, like, if someone was like, yeah, this is how it starts, and then it ends with people stabbing each other, and so you're like, what?
Stabbing? Oh my God, I was not ready for that.
Yeah, no one is ready for that.
Yeah,
it's like that moment where he like gets out of the basement, grabs the knife, and you're like, oh my God, like shit's about to hit the fan. But you still don't know like exactly what. Like, you can't even imagine how it's going to go down.
Who is he going to kill? He's obviously deranged and he was locked in a basement forever.
Yeah.
He could go out and kill anyone.
Yeah.
You know? So it's that also is it keeps you guessing. Yeah.
I also wanted to, like, obviously the performances across the board are fantastic.
Absolutely.
I did want to shout out Song Kang-ho's performance as the father in the Kim family. I don't know, he's fantastic.
He is really good.
Yeah. And he's been in, I want to say, most of Bong Joon-ho's films. He's like one of his regular actors. He was in Memories of a Murder, which, by the way, we need to watch. He was in The Host. He was in Okja. He was like in a lot or most of his films. And like, I don't know, he's just a fantastic actor. I did want to bring up, when this film came out, it was, for a lot of people, it was their first time seeing a Bong Joon-ho film. There is, there's the fact that everyone just watches American films. But like, because like, if you go and watch his earlier films, it's obvious that like, if there is someone that could make a film as perfect as this, it's Bong Joon-ho. And I say that as someone that has only seen like a few of his earlier films, but you can already tell there, like Memories of a Murder, as I said, Wakurit, that's another, like, I wouldn't say it's not a perfect film. It's not as good as Parasite, but it's like almost perfect, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5-star. Like, I don't know what else to say even. It's just perfect in my opinion.
This is a required watching, I think.
Yeah. Although I will say this is definitely not for everyone, I feel like. Like, I don't know, like my mom didn't really like this, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'll have like older people.
Potentially. There's,
I don't know. Not to be ageist.
Maybe I'm desensitized to like the scarier parts of it as well.
I think that's what it is, because I don't know.
Because I also look at it from like a craft perspective of
which I feel like some people don't.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have talked to several people whose parents really hated this film, which like obviously not everything is for everyone, but I think regardless of if it doesn't work for you, like in the same way where I'm like, I don't really like rap that much, like, but I can still like see,
how important it is.
I know how
like how important
To
Pimp a Butterfly is.
I agree with the fact that it should win the Pulitzer.
Yeah.
Like, same way with this, where I'm like, even if this might not be the film for you, I think you can't argue with the fact that it is a perfect film.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the easiest 5, and it almost makes me think like maybe I should reassess, but I don't want to like lower anything.
No, I don't think
like,
I think like
it is in a tier of its own as of right now though. Like, I love Ordinary People. I think that's incredible, and it's like a super important film. There's something about this that just immediately captivated me. And I also will say I have been able so far to tell how much I'm going to like a movie based on its first shot.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yep.
I want to like go through the next films that we're covering and think about their first shots and like try and guess.
Because I knew from the moment Sexy Beast started, I was kind of like, I'm not gonna like this. And and there was something, and then like from the moment, from this, like from the first shot of this, I was like, this is gonna be great. It's a 4 minimum. And like,
so, and it just went, like, kept on going up.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to think about it, which is also great. Yeah. This house is so cool. I know it's not real. I know they
built it for it. Yeah.
I want to live there.
That like wall window.
Yeah.
I will say
directly out into the backyard. Yeah.
I love like antiques and like wood cabin vibes. So I would not want to live in this house.
I like both.
Well, yeah, but also it works so well for this film.
Love a secret hideaway, like secret passageway kind of thing. Like,
I love it, but I feel like if I was living in a house with that, I would be scared of it. Like, I would be like, "What the hell is down there?"
As long as you know it exists.
No, obviously, yeah.
Like, they didn't know it existed.
But I just feel like I would start to get like worried about it, even if I knew it was fine. I'd be like, Did someone like creep down there during the night and is like living there now? Like maybe it's because of this film, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about this movie other than I think everybody should watch it.
Exactly. I 100% agree. And to go back to your last point of like moving our scores, I think like 2 films can exist with 5-star and not be like the exact same 5-star.
Yeah,
you know?
I get that.
Yeah, so that's just my opinion and like with how I review things.
I used to rate songs. So it'd be on a scale of 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And then I'd have 10 additional points you could get on top of it. So once you reached 100, it was perfect. And then there would be the additional,
how perfect it is.
They'd be like bonuses kind of. So then you could be like, okay, this song does this better. It gets this bonus. So it's on this tier.
Yeah.
So that's how I used to do it. So
I like that.
I also like a 0 to 100 score better than a like 0 to 5. I'm good with a 0 to 10.
0 to 5 is very limiting.
It's very limiting because I like to do like a 2.6 or something like that, like where it's different, because to me that's different. There's a different step.
And I feel like when it's 1 to 5, like the way they view each score is going to be vastly different, which is like we view.
Yes, exactly. Because
too.
I've also seen that with 10s where people say an average film or a song is a 7 out of 10. Yeah. That is not an average. An average is 5.
I feel like that is born out of like the Rotten Tomatoes, that like, because a lot of the film, like
That's
a lot
true.
of film reviews, an average really is a 6 or 7. That's just the way they view it. So I think that is kind of born out of that.
And I don't,
more so.
because I want more differentiation between the amounts of like that I have.
I feel like I do, but that's again just tied into the fact that like I took in a lot of that media. You know? So that's why.
I mean, that's understandable. Everybody has their own thing. I see people freak out all the time because somebody's rating songs too many 4s, or too many 2s.
Which
it's
all
like,
of that is
you
bullshit.
hate music. You like music too much.
Everyone's opinion is their opinion.
Yeah, I don't care what you're doing as long as you're not harming people.
Exactly.
That's my philosophy.
But yeah, I agree. Everyone should watch this movie.
I do think everybody should listen to this album.
Same.
Especially if you're not a rap fan, because I feel like this is one of the albums where
you will gain appreciation.
Yes, you'll gain an appreciation that is akin to like a classic work of like, I'm thinking about people who are like, well, I only listen to rock. If it doesn't have guitars, then it sucks.
Yeah.
And electric guitars or whatever. Like,
I get
that
your
kind of
point.
thing. But I feel like there is a level of, I don't want to say musicianship, but there's something about this album that makes it a classic.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
So I do think that this is a fundamental piece of media for understanding rap
Which
music.
is really, aside from like the themes of class and all that other stuff, I would say this is honestly the theme of this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
These are both 2 like pieces of media that are very important and that everyone should consume at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have much else to say about either of these.
Me neither.
I think they're great.
To be honest.
Yeah.
So hey, leave a review, leave a rating, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Letterboxd, and rate your music.
Yep. All that information will be in the show notes as well.
Yeah. And hey, keep on coming back. We got more good episodes planned.
Exactly.
See you next time.
We'll see ya.